Entry 10. Using the Derby stands, I can surely obtain 36, maybe more, sinners' souls in the blink of an eye. I'd like to ascertain beyond doubt whether the brothers have the strength to do so, but their talents in games of chance and skill are so significant there can't be more than a scant few individuals who could top them around the globe, let alone hardened sinners. I, Dio, attest to that. The older brother, Daniel J., is particularly formidable, a gambler to his core possessing profound skill. The younger, Terence T., is still coarse from youth, but his stand Atum has an extra ability. It can also read the color, or perhaps the temperature, of those souls in its sights. If I hone that ability under my watchful eye, the younger could become quite dangerous. The experienced older Derby would remain the more valuable asset, but it's not a waste of time to train the younger as a reserve. Unfortunately, my investigations into the Derby bloodline, that is, their parents and cousin, led to nothing interesting. They were mere humans, entirely ordinary. It may be too early to draw this conclusion, but I believe it beneficial to assume that these two brothers alone possess stands with the ability to manipulate souls. At least in that way, I'm prone to treat them with more value. I won't pierce them with a flesh bud. It's not necessary, and moreover, I don't want to. Enya suggested that plan. Flesh buds greatly help in manipulating humans. Unlike zombies, which I create by sucking their living blood, flesh buds are magnificent for creating thralls who maintain their sense of reason and intelligence. However, rather like the needles in the stone mask, the effect on the brain caused by the flesh bud, that physical connection with the mind, diminishes the victim's stand power and the connection to their stand. Those among my minions whom I manipulated with flesh buds, namely Jean-Pierre Polnareff and Noriaki Kakyoin, are magnificent stand users without flesh buds. With them, they remain considerably useful, but their weakness is all too evident. I call this strategy an error, but an error I must permit. Such errors cannot be avoided on the path to heaven. 36 souls. If I use the Derby's powers, I could obtain them in no time at all. The problem lies in finding those sinners, and no less than 36. This world has gotten considerably more peaceful in 100 years. There are fewer sinners, even the wicked have gained rationality. As I look for my yet unfound friend, I must simultaneously search for these sinners. Among Enya's group, there are murderers and criminals, worthy of the heinous sins these 36 souls must each have accomplished. Men like Devo with his stand, Ebony Devil, and Alessi with his stand, Set. In that sense, I feel I have already made some progress. That reminds me, I must write down the key words. The 14 key words to attain heaven. I mean, words that will serve as a key to unlock heaven's gates. Spiral Staircase, Rhinoceros Beetle, Ghost Town, Fig Tart, Rhinoceros Beetle, Via Dolorosa, Rhinoceros Beetle, Singularity, Giotto, Angel, Hydrangea, Rhinoceros Beetle, Singularity, Secret Emperor. These 14 key words are what I need. To ensure I don't forget them, I will carve them into my stand, the world. There really isn't any reason to worry. I have no great fear of forgetting them. That's why they are the key words. In and of themselves, they have no meaning. They're merely lyrics from a lullaby my mother would sing to me as a small child to get me to sleep. Or perhaps the delirious words of a lullaby to get me to heaven. In that sense, I could call it a requiem. Entry 11. My father left me nothing. This is obvious, as my father had nothing, not a penny to his name. He had debts, but nothing I couldn't handle. A pathetic father, with pathetic debts. I suppose you couldn't expect anyone in that town to be foolish enough to loan any large amount to such a person. However, while his will did not bequeath anything, at death's door he gave me a path in the form of information. That was as much of an inheritance as I received, the one thing this taker had given to me in his life, and even then at its very end. That made me unhappy. crushingly unhappy. By converting, just as the curtain was drawn on his life, it seemed possible to me that he, nothing more than a scoundrel, may have gone to heaven. It was a very slim chance, but it was unbearable. The thought of it made my skin crawl. That at the end he felt sympathy for the son he had so relentlessly abused. It made my insides convulse in twisting mental agony. I didn't think that my mother could have gone to heaven, but I thought my father could have. If he did, I thought. If he did, I will go to heaven. I'll reunite with him to kill him again. That's what I thought in momentary bursts of rage and anguish. These days, those wild impulses have subsided. My motivations for heaven are not so trivial. I no longer grope blindly for the path to heaven. That said, if I do meet my father at the end of this long path, I will kill him, merely as an opportunity afforded by circumstance. But it's silly and backwards to make it my prime reason to attain heaven. I seek heaven for humanity, to help them reach new heights. Yes, humanity's next stage of evolution, much like when I donned the stone mask and became a vampire. Much like when I used the bow and arrow to become a stand user, I will raise the bar higher to become a true winner. Dio, come here for a minute. I have something to tell you. You know what I mean, right? I'm going to die soon. The one worry I'll have after I die is about you, my only son. Do you hear me, Dio? When I die, take this letter and go to the home of the person it's addressed to. He's indebted to me. I'm sure he'll look after you. He'll probably make you go to school, too. This guy owes me a favor. Dio, when I die, go to the Joestar household. You've got a good head on your shoulders. Become the richest man there's ever been. He was an abysmal father. I don't even think of him as one. But that inheritance my father left me, I accepted that windfall with gratitude. I was more than capable of living on my own, but I vowed to use anything in my grasp. The connection between the Brando and Joestar families had started 12 years earlier, but my connection with the Joestars began then. I felt my life finally, really beginning. That's what it was. By taking my father, my life finally began. As not to arouse suspicion, I took the time to hold a funeral for my father. What's more, I even cried at that funeral, a devoted son to the very end.